order. I need a motion to accept the June 16th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the June 19th meeting minutes.
Is there any discussion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
County Commissioners report. We actually have a county commissioner here.
Oh, we do. Appreciate you guys' hospitality yesterday. The other commissioners always like coming up to the wild country. I hear it's a long drive up here. It went well. We always have more attendance up here than we do in Newport. It's kind of funny. They enjoy that. We enjoy it. So often we go about our business and nobody shows up. Even when people show up and complain, sometimes we're happy. It's like, hey, somebody's listening. So appreciate that. The only other thing I would share, a couple of things. If you have a chance, check out their article in the Newport Miner about roads. Don came down and interviewed our county engineer, Jesse Larson. I wish I was there. I was going to be part of that interview. But that's it. One of those things that's in the back of my mind constantly is that coming kind of fiscal revenue cliff for roads, and that does a pretty good job of explaining some of the issues around that. So you guys have a chance to read that. If you have questions, call me about it. You're going to see more of that. We're trying to get that message out there, that issue is out there, so it doesn't surprise people. The other thing I would say, you'll remember here 3 weeks ago, I went to Washington, D.C., and that was around the SRS, Secure Rural Schools Act, and the federal lands, federal forest lands particularly. We were concerned about, there's two parts to SRS payments. One of those is the payments that go to schools, and the other part of it is PILT, payment in lieu of taxes. The Ponderay County did get their payment in lieu of taxes this week, so that's a huge load off of us commissioners and off of our employees and off of our budgeting staff, because that's $1.4 million, $1.4 million, which is a big part of our budget. We got that, so that really is a relief. It was a little bit more than we budgeted, so that's great, not less. And so the other part of that SRS part is still working its way through Congress. There's two different bills that are still working. One of them is attached to the big beautiful bill, and then the Senate passed their own version and sent it off to the House, so we kind of got dueling bills going like this. Pretty good chance that part of it will pass as well. I think one way or another it'll get done, and that's part of it is more critical for the school funding. In Washington State it's a little complicated, but anyway, I felt like that was worthwhile. I did my little part with that, hopefully. I wouldn't say I take credit for it, but I did a little part of pushing it down the road. Other than that, I'm happy to take questions if anybody has any.
Didn't that start at 1.2 million and they gave you a little bit more?
I think so. I think the budget bill was 1.2. We're always pretty conservative when we figure our revenues for our budgets. We always hope that we're going to get a little more. But yeah, and it is an extremely complicated calculation on how much PILT we get. It is not simple, and I've studied it. It has to do with a historical timber harvest, and then it has to do with your population, and then it has to do with your percentage of your population that lives at a poverty level, and then so it's like 3 different equations that you do to arrive at their payment level. So hard to predict what it'll be.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about how much it would have really been if you could have got everything?
Yeah, well, I was telling Tim that industrial timberland in Ponderay County, let's say you're Stimson, let's say you're Vaughan Brothers, pay about $40 an acre for property tax. If the federal government paid us $40 an acre, they would have gave us $25 million.
Wow.
And instead we got $1.4 million. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and again, you know, I wouldn't say that we need the 40 bucks an acre, but I think they need to think about the effects of the national forest on small communities and their revenue. And because we live in a county where a very small sliver of the land is taxable and is developable. And you know, you want to compare our roads, you compare our law enforcement, you compare all our things to these other counties, and you look at them and the whole county is taxed. We're a very, very, very tiny county if you look at our private property. So that has consequences. And the national forest, the percentage of our land is in national forest, and I love it, that's why most of us are here. But that has consequences, revenue consequences. That's why we're lowest in the nation for law enforcement. You know, we got a lot of nothing. So,
How many acres is that 1.4 based on, roughly?
500,000, 55, something like that,
Okay.
acres. Yeah, 558,000, something like that, give or take. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd have to do the math. I think it's like $7 an acre or something like that.
Yeah,
Look at
and that's what I was
50.
wondering, breaking that down, what it broke
Yeah.
down to.
So, any questions? Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep. That's-
Well, we don't have the sheriff's or fire here. This isn't a regularly scheduled meeting, so
We do have sheriff, but we didn't have to report.
No, we don't.
no guests here tonight. JP is not here. He's been a busy boy today. Something happened to the lawnmower today. Other than that, we don't know.
We have quite turn yet.
Yeah, one of our lawnmowers is, we're trying to figure out what the hell, I don't know what the status of it is. Nothing under old business. Our new business, we had an executive session. And it was related to RCW 423110C. And we're, need a motion to open a position for town clerk.
Hold on.
We
The
don't.
executive session wasn't about accounting.
No.
No.
So we need to make a motion to take action on the things that were discussed in the
Oh, okay.
executive session.
We need to make a motion to,
So we have to, so the executive session was the RCW 42.30.110C, which is discussion on potentially selling town real estate. It was discussed, there was no motions, there was nothing taken, no action in that meeting. The action would have to be public, so do we need to take
Need a
action?
motion to have a public hearing.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to have a public hearing to discuss the surplus of acreage of the towns.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got a date in mind yet?
Huh?
Jade was,
Do you have a date in mind
Let
yet?
me
for
look
that?
at the calendar. If we did our regular, if we did it before our July 9th regular scheduled meeting, that would give us 10 days to post it. Or like, it'd be over 7 days. So I think we could do it before our next regular scheduled meeting,
7 days from today,
10,
10 days from today.
which should give us time
Friday.
this
July 9th.
July 9th.
Sooner the
Isn't
better.
that when our regular
Yes,
scheduled meeting?
yes.
Okay.
We can do it before it.
Okay.
Does that work, Tim?
Yeah, that works for me perfectly.
Works for me.
So we could schedule it for, well, how long do we want to take public comment on it usually?
What's customary? Like, what do we need, 15 minutes? I don't know how many people are gonna show up.
So at least 30 minutes or
I would
so.
say at
I-
least 30.
At least
6:30.
Okay.
In case there's stragglers or something.
3 people will show up and they'll be over 10 minutes.
Well,
That's okay,
what
but we
usually
want to
happens.
allow enough time.
Yes. Okay. That was on surplus.
gonna have a list of surplus lands available at that time?
There's only one that we are discussing right now.
We can print out a map.
We'll have more for you guys. Okay, and Janet and Tim.
All right, now, we open a position for town clerk. We need to publish a notice in some most likely. Or,
Open up the position for town
yeah,
clerk and take application.
yeah, and I don't know how long we're gonna.
How long do you guys want to run it? How long do you guys want to open it for?
I would
A
say,
week, and
Like
then
5 days?
5 days, and if we don't get any responses, or something, we can open it for another 5 days.
I would say 10, just to kind of get going.
I want to be able to do this, if it's over, if we have applications in 5 days, then that's, should be sufficient.
So we terminated the clerk yet?
Yes,
Okay.
What are we gonna advertise the position pay at?
We have to go back into our,
that,
It's tough because we don't really,
you can't say, we're gonna go back
Yeah, we
into
have-
our clerk, into
We have to
billing
go
and
back.
wages, and then we'll break it down, because it was salary, and that'll give us a start point. And
Okay.
it's always, you start at one point in 90 days, they get their raise, so.
Are we considering sticking with the salary model, or do we wanna go to an hourly based type of thing?
It doesn't change the wage,
Okay,
so either way. And at this point, we've been flexible, if they prefer it to be
I
salary,
think
direct
it would be up
deposit.
to whoever gets the job. It doesn't matter to me, and it's, so
The
far,
tracking's
everybody
gonna
that
be the
we've
same.
had as an employee has preferred salary.
yeah, and we've had issues with that.
Well, that's locked down now, so
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna.
we are, there will be
There's more
processes and
accountability.
procedure modifications.
And if, I mean, that's up for discussion too, so if the check, if
Yeah.
we'll feel better about that, I mean, that could just be this is how it's gonna be done.
So can we post the job without a salary expectation yet and do our research in the interim?
Well, when she posts it, she'll post it tomorrow, and we'll do some research
Okay.
prior to that.
So we won't list a salary on the,
What is it? Oh,
experience, experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Experience
Yeah.
to be negotiated.
Yeah.
okay. That sounds reasonable.
Cause you have to have something on there pertaining to the wage.
I would assume it's around $20 an hour, but
That's a good starting
That's
wage, yes.
between 20 and 23 is what it is. That's kind of what's going on. We need to be able to pay somebody enough money to afford to live here. You know, that's just kind of, it's part of the deal.
The right person will find us.
And our policies and procedures are gonna reflect all that stuff.
okay.
We have to work on that coming up, with just period, it has to be done.
Yeah.
We have to put something in place.
We need a
We need
motion.
action on it.
We need a motion. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to post the town clerk position with wage depending on experience
To be negotiated.
to be negotiated depending on experience, for a period of what, 5 days? And then if that could be advertised in the newspaper? Okay, make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
It's a good constellation, they just had a post office job, but they had 20, 30 applicants for that job.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Selkirk Sun has, because, I don't know, I might get some help from Brian. The Selkirk Sun has a Facebook page.
yes.
Right.
And is that the same as, if she posts on that page, is that,
Well, what you wanna do for your posting is the same thing you've always done. So whatever's been done in the past is the minimum.
back in the
Yeah.
always done days, there was no
Yeah, and
So she had on Facebook, so
when you're advertising, especially for your public hearings or whatever, you know, the requirement is always to do what you normally
are
do.
we going to be restricted to 5 days from when it's posted in the sun?
For what it's worth, someone that took her to the hospital, so it might not be a sun for a while.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Well, there's a Newport
What
minor.
other options
Yeah.
do we
But
have?
Newport-
Yeah, you said it, Mike. But you're talking about for the job opening?
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're fine there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine doing.
And she can post on Facebook for
Yeah.
us too, and she has
Yeah.
done that.
I thought you were talking about for the public hearing.
No.
No.
Okay.
Has anybody heard about how she's doing?
I haven't, didn't know
she was in the hospital.
They hauled her off in an ambulance last night,
Holy crap.
Didn't know that.
yesterday afternoon, yeah. Said she wasn't conscious when they got there, but
Anybody, I would like to know if anybody has a connection to that family.
I work for her.
I know, I'm.
Yeah, Dan
You
didn't
work for
know.
her, you don't know?
Did you know she was in the hospital? They took her
No,
away?
she just says go there and I go there.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Helpful, thank you.
Well, if you have,
She might be
if
home.
you get any information, would you let us know, please?
I will.
Thank you. Anything left on the list here is council reports.
Oh, she's listening right now if you want to say hi to her.
That's it.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Sonia.
Sonia.
Dan, can you tell me how many people are on there? Can you see how many people are logged in online?
3.
Thank you.
Council reports.
Lawnmower broke today up at the
That's-
cemetery, or down at the park, I guess is where it broke. We don't know yet. When I came back in later this afternoon, he hadn't tore into it. He said he would get into it tomorrow, if possible. It doesn't turn, that's all I know.
I texted him and asked him if it was fixable, he said yes.
Yeah, he said he thought
So
it could.
that's a good thing. Plus I have one sitting up in my yard if you need it. Alicia,
I got nothing.
Dave,
I got nothing.
Tim,
Have anything?
Rick?
Park looks good, getting water on the lawn, should be ready for the 4th.
We want to thank Mike for taking that.
Yep.
Haven't been in this week yet, I'll start tomorrow.
Public comment.
During the public comment period, your comments are limited to 3 minutes. There are guidelines to help council members hear as many different points of view as possible in the limited time available. If you're speaking for a group, you must tell the council how the group developed the position that you are presenting. The council may or may not answer questions, and questions should be sent to the town's email.
Public comment? Need a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And thank you folks for coming.
That's it, folks.
Stick around for a minute.
Um,